Hey, welcome to lesson 2 about flow control statements in Golang. Okay, start off. Here is a simple if statement. You've got the if keyword, then you've got a condition. Here we've got a Boolean variable. We could make it any expression, for example. You've got the positive case and the else case. And the important thing to notice is you have to use braces all the time. Sorry if you're used to one-line if statements in C, Go doesn't let you do that, and it's probably for the best. If is not that complicated, but it does have one really interesting feature that's pretty Go specific. I've never seen this before anywhere else, and that is you can do a thing called pre-assignment. Here we are. The condition in this if statement is result should be greater than 0, right? But we can actually create that variable result by declaring and assigning it in advance, just before the condition, and it's separated by this little semicolon here. And what that means is that we get a temporary variable result, and the result scope is only within the if statement, within the if part or the else part. If you try and print it out after the if, then you'll get an error because it's undeclared. And so that's quite neat for allowing you to use a meaningful variable name repeatedly in your code. But nevertheless it assures you that you're not that one use of it is not interfering with another use, because it only exists within the if statement. So after if is very simple. After if you've got switch. Switch is quite complicated and powerful, and it's got several different variations. Here's a rather obvious one where we're switching on some variable that we've created. It could be an expression as well, but in this case we're switching on this variable, and in switch the code the condition is evaluated from one case, from the top to the bottom. So you start off with the first case, and then the second one, and then finally, if none of those match, then the default case is executed. And you can have multiple values on each case line. So you can, this particular case statement will be executed if a result is either 1 or 2. Switch can also be executed without any variable or without any expression, and the expression then has to be filled out within the within the case statement. So, and these can be arbitrary. So you can have case 1 is greater than 5, or case my widget equals 2, or it doesn't matter what's in here, except that they're processed from top to bottom, and if none of them match, then the default matches. So this kind of switch statement is a useful way to handle something where a situation where you might have a long complicated if-else chain or chain of if statements. You can tidy them up by putting them into this kind of switch. You also get pre-assignment, just like in if, you get a pre-assignment with switch. So here I've assigned the result from this function to other result, and now that I've done that, I can use the variable other result in my case statement. So I can, for example, here, if other result is 1, I can print it out. And that is just that other result obviously has scope only within this particular switch. So again, it has all the advantages that it has with if statements. So for example, if you try to use that thing other result in the code after the switch statement, it won't work because it's undeclared. Okay, loops. Loops are kind of simple in a way. There's only 4. And there's no while or anything else like that, but for is quite versatile and can do a lot of different stuff. So I'm going to start with what is the most, I think, the simplest and most sophisticated way of using for loops, and that is with the range keyword. So here we've got an array team, which we declared further up the code, and the range keyword is going to iterate over the team array, and it's going to assign for every time it iterates, it's going to assign the position, the index of that it's looking at in the array, and it's going to assign this variable to the value that's stored at that index. So let's just go and look up at our team array up here. We've got it up here, team. This is a array of two personal objects, and one is Bob and the other one is Alice. Bob is declared a bit further up, but here's Alice declared here, so you can see that these personal objects have a name and an age, and in our loop we want to print those out. And so here we are, we've got our range loop, and as it iterates over the team, index and person are going to get assigned. Index is going to get assigned to the position, and person is going to get assigned to the value. And here we are, printing them out. We're printing out the index, the position, and we're printing out the value at that position, which is person.name and person.age. So that's very easy and neat, and it avoids any kind of errors that you might create about, you know, how far you have to iterate, or is there a counter variable that you have to increment. And it's neat, and it's less. It's not very. It's the chances for errors are less. But if you want to iterate by counting, just like you do in C or C++, then you can. And here it is. So here we are. We're creating and assigning this variable index. We're continuing to iterate over the loop while index is less than the length of the team, and after every iteration we're incrementing the index variable, which is and the scope of index is within this for loop, so outside the for loop this index variable doesn't exist. And here you are, you can see we're having to, because we're doing this the old-fashioned way, we're looking into the team array at position index and printing the name of that particular item, and same with the age. And if you're looking for a while loop, you can do that with for as well. Here we are. We have we're printing. Here we are. We're doing this loop while the return value from some function is less than 0. And of course it always is less than 0. It is never less than 0 because some function returns 1, so this item in the loop should never get executed. If we look down here in the output from all of this stuff, here we are. This is iterating with range. Nothing exciting there. We're printing out the name, the position, the name, and the age. And this is iterating by counting, and we get exactly the same result, but with a lot more effort. And here we get this. It shows that we never actually execute the item in this loop because it's the return value from some function is 1, and so it's always less than 0. If I wanted to make it loop forever, I could say, you know, if the return value is equal to 1, now that will loop forever and ever. Okay. I hope that was useful. Good luck, and I'll see you again in lesson 3.